Hi, welcome to our ethical case study, The Devil's Advocate. Today, we will look at the ethical dilemma that is commonly faced by criminal defense attorneys. Your presenters are Jeremy, Xiaorong, Martin, Hamza, and Aniruddha. First, we will start off with a little agenda just so you know where we are going. To begin, we are going to show you a short movie clip. It's an excerpt from the movie The Devil's Advocate, and it will prove to be the perfect example for our case. Next, we will discuss the ethical decision-making model and then the ethical theories involved. After, we will present our decision. Finally, we are going to put a little twist on the case and give it to the class for a little discussion. As was mentioned before, we are going to show you a short clip of a movie. We feel this scene perfectly captures the case we choose to present to you.
Go on, Barbara.
We go back to our homeroom for dismissal, unless you have a pass for sports or something.
And is that what you did on the day in question?
No, Mr. Geddes asked me to stay after class.
And what happened next, Barbara?
He told me to sit in the chair beside his desk.
Barbara, if you will, in your own words, tell us exactly what happened in the next few minutes.
I told him I was afraid I'd miss my bus. Promised I would get to the bus sometime if I'd help him to do something. Then, before I could say anything, he placed his hand inside my blouse. I was so frightened I didn't move. I thought if I was just quiet, it'd be okay. Then his other hand went up inside my skirt. And then, with his hand, he started moving back and forth, farther and farther inside my skirt. He said he was testing to see if I had any special feelings, that he wanted to see what kind of feelings I had. I was trying to think of something to say, but I couldn't. I was confused, and he just kept on. I was asking him to stop, but it was like he couldn't hear me. He just kept on with his hand. And then I screamed. Then he got mad and said we would have to try it again sometime.
Did he try again?
Not with me.
But with your friends?
Yes.
And after you told them what he had done to you, they told you what he had done to them. Isn't that true?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
You're a witness, Mr. Lomax.
Hopefully, that clip gave you a good idea of the case we were talking about. Next, we are going to analyze the case using the ethical decision-making model. We need to identify all the facts in the case. First, the lawyer knows the defendant is 100% guilty. In the clip, you can even tell that he was a bad man and the lawyer was unsure about him. The case is defendable. In other words, the lawyer could win the case. Although it is unclear how he could do it from just the clip, we will assume that he can win the case if he wants to. If the lawyer wins, he will get a promotion. The victims are not related to the lawyer, and there is a good chance the defendant will strike again if set free. Finally, this is the lawyer's first big case. Next, we need to lay out the ethical issues involved. Should the lawyer defend the defendant? Should the lawyer obey his professional duty? Would society be better off if the defendant is in jail? Would the possible punishment of the defendant give the victim a sense of justice? And finally, would the lawyer be able to live with himself if he let the defendant go free? Now that we have all the facts and are aware of the ethical issues, let's look at the alternatives. First, the lawyer can win the case. Second, the lawyer can drop the case or plead guilty. And third, the lawyer can pretend to try and win the case and then lose it on purpose.
Next, we need to determine all of the stakeholders involved in this case and determine how the alternatives would affect them. First, we have all the victims and their families. For obvious reasons, they care about what happens to the defendant. Next, we have the defendant himself. He probably does not want to go to jail and is hoping to get free or be proven innocent. We have the lawyer. His career may well be on the line, and he has to make the decision. The lawyer's firm is also involved. They have a monetary interest in whether their client goes to jail or not. Finally, we have the community. The community could be affected if the defendant is let go. It is highly likely he will strike again at someone else in the community. The last two steps in the ethical decision-making process are to make a decision and monitor the outcomes. The lawyer can choose any alternative he wants, he just needs to determine if he can live with it. Maybe he sees if he can live with being a criminal defense attorney. Perhaps becomes a civil prosecutor instead, because he can't live with defending guilty people.
For the next step in analyzing our case, we decided we would apply a few ethical theories and see what decision we would make based on each theory. The first theory we applied is the utilitarian theory, also known as the cost-benefit approach. It basically means that the end justifies the means. Applying this theory to the case, we determined that society would benefit the most if the defendant went to jail. Therefore, the lawyer should lose the case. Next, we applied the deontological theory, which pertains to moral rights and duties. It also means that you should follow the law and your duty no matter what. Applying this theory to the case, we discovered that it is the lawyer's duty to defend the defendant. Therefore, the lawyer should win the case.
Then we applied the wheel of ignorance. We pretended that we could be anyone in the case. Knowing this, we asked ourselves what we would want the decision to be. Since the lawyer wouldn't want to be in the defendant's shoes if found guilty, the lawyer should win the case. We also tried to apply the theory of virtue ethics. Does the lawyer want to be a good lawyer or an honest one? After some discussions, it simply depends on what type of person the lawyer is. Therefore, the decision could go either way. Finally, we used faith-based ethics. This was simply a matter of asking, what does our faith believe? This gave a clear answer, because all religions do not agree with the defendant's action. The lawyer should lose or drop the case.
In the end, we all came up with a decision. We agreed that we would apply the utilitarian principles and that the lawyer should lose the case. It takes a special kind of person to be a criminal defense attorney. Okay, so this brings us to our big twist. What if the victim was related to the lawyer? We can discuss it in class. Thank you for watching to our ethical case analysis. We hope you enjoyed it.